Hey everyone, and welcome back on the channel. My name is Alex with Meta Endurance. In today's video, we have a first impression review of this shoe, the brand new Hoka Rocket X3. This shoe is the update to the Rocket X2, a shoe that I ranked very highly in 2023-4. It's also the other racing shoe from Hoka. It goes together hand in hand with the Cielo X1 2.0, a shoe that we reviewed on the channel earlier this year in 2025. I'm excited with this shoe. I'm also a bit nervous because when you like something very much, you are also hoping for it not to disappoint you. Did it disappoint me? I will let you know everything. We're in Chamonix here in the Alps. It's more of a coincidence. This is where I tested this shoe yesterday for the first time on a track. I did a 2x10-minute session around 3:35 minutes per kilometer pace. That's a 5:45 minute per mile pace, somewhere there. So fairly, aggressive effort, 10 minutes. That's a half marathon pace for me, a bit faster even than that. And I know a few things about this shoe. This is definitely not a full review. If you want to see that in a few weeks, month, subscribe, like this video, this helps us. But most importantly, watch it till the end because this is really what the gods of YouTube care about. In terms of specs, I don't have much numbers to share with you because unfortunately Hoka didn't provide them to us yet. But it's a WeatherFlex legal shoe, meaning that it's below 40 millimeters in the heel. I would assume this is a 5 millimeters in terms of drop, but I don't have the confirmation. It's somewhere there at least, but keep in mind with very soft foams like this shoe has, the static drop is also very different from the dynamic drop, meaning when you compress the heel, when you compress the forefoot, you're actually changing the drop in your gait cycle, and this is also something that you have to be conscious of when looking at shoes with softer densities in the midsole. In terms of weight, we're looking at 227 grams. That's 8 ounces flat for a men's sample size US 10 with Hoka. So my pair should be around that 240 grams. It's definitely not the lightest race day shoe out there, but it's lighter than the Hoka Cielo X1 2.0. That's on the heavier side of things. Price point, we're looking at 250 euros, which is, let's say, on the average to lower side of average when it comes to race day shoes, carbon plated race day shoes, because yes, this shoe has a carbon plate, and we'll come back to that here in a second. But before that, let's dive into the upper. The upper of this shoe has been revisited, and this to me is not great news because I love the upper of the Hoka Rocket X2 so much that I hoped it would just be maybe a bit more breathable, but that's it. Here we have a new material, we have a new design of the heel, a new tongue, new laces, and some of it is good, some of it is not. Let me explain everything about it. When it comes to the length of the shoe, we're looking at a very short length. My true size US 11 EU 45 and 1/3 felt on the shorter side of things. Let's say that the width is average, but the length of the shoe is definitely a bit short, especially the longest of my 2 feet. Like everyone, I have a discrepancy between the 2 feet in terms of length. The left one is a bit longer, and it was really touching here at the front of this shoe. My big toe was touching here, the tippy toe of that shoe. That's not ideal. However, and that's very interesting, it was rubbing and I could feel it at slower paces, but as soon as I picked up the pace, because I was compressing the forefoot so much, it kind of created a bit more volume here in the upper, and I didn't feel it as much. There's a couple things. I think the first thing is what I just described, compressing the foam a bit more and creating a bit more volume, if that makes sense here with the upper. And the second thing is also because it was at faster paces, I was probably focusing more on my effort and not necessarily on the fit of the shoe. And so I could feel it was a bit short at slower paces. Now, that being said, the one thing that's a bit annoying here is that because the lockdown here in this area and the heel in the midfoot is not ideal, I don't know if recommended half size up would be the right move for me and the right decision for you to take. That being said, the best thing is, as always, go to your local running shop and try it out, try your true size, try your maybe half up and see what works best. Like I said, this was a bit short for me. The tongue is non-gusseted. That's maybe, also part of why the lockdown here in the midfoot is not perfect. The heel is relatively stout, but the design is not as good as the almost perfect heel of the Rocket X2. The laces are better, however, than on the Rocket X2. They're textured laces and they provide with a good lacing experience. The insole is removable. I suppose it's also a TPE material, let's say, but I don't have the exact nature of that material, but it's definitely a more fancy insole, I would call it like that. And that's it for the upper. I would say in general that it's not as good as the upper of the Rocket X2. It's not a bad upper, but one thing that needs to be solved, for me at least, will be the length of this shoe, and trying it out half a size up will give me more information that I will be able to share with you in the full review for this shoe. Looking at the midsole, there is one big change, and you can probably see it because it's actually shiny, and that's the dual density setup with this midsole. The forefoot here is a new material that is kind of an introduction to the Hoka lineup. I've never seen this material on any Hoka shoe. It's shining, it's not the same texture as the matte finish of this second PBA-based material in the heel. The dual density, as always, is providing you with a softer experience for one foam and a denser experience for the other one. The denser is the matte one, and the shiny, brilliant one is the softer one in the forefoot, providing you with a bit more cushion, a bit more bounce. This one in the heel is firmer, providing you with a bit more stability. In between the two layers of foam, you have a carbon plate, and this one, I would say, is on the more rigid side of things. You can slightly bend the shoe, but it's definitely not one of these very snappy plates. It's doing what a plate should do. It's stabilizing the shoe. It's offering you a bit of lever when it comes to that mechanical assistance, and it works pretty well. I'm pretty convinced that this is the same plate geometry and the same plate material as on the Rocket X2, but I could be wrong. I think here in the midsole, the main change is really that introduction of a dual layer setup with that new foam in the forefoot. Now, the main question is, how's the ride? Is it better or worse than the Rocket X2? How does it compare to the Cielo X1 2.0? All I can say is that the experience is an elevated experience from the Rocket X2. I really enjoy that experience here in the shoe. It's a soft, yet stable approach. It's zesty in the forefoot. It definitely offers an effortless way of picking up paces, of running at faster paces. It's a shoe that made me go paces that I didn't do in a long time without paying too much attention about it. Despite being at altitude, in the heat, in humidity, I had a blast with these shoes on the track yesterday. The only concern I have, to be honest with you here, is that the width of the platform is on the average side, probably even on the narrow side of average, and that will not work for everyone. It is a more stable shoe than the Cielo X1 2.0, and that's a great thing because the Cielo X1 2.0 is definitely not a stable shoe at all by any means. This is a more stable shoe that will work for people with mild stability needs because you will definitely not have a ton of stability out of this shoe. But it's quite more stable than the Cielo X1 2.0, and that's a good thing to have in the Hoka lineup. And if you're a Hoka fan, if you want to add this shoe to your rotation, that may work quite well if you have stability needs. It's a shoe that I would probably wear for longer distances compared to the Rocket X2 that was really a rocket for the 10K to half marathon. This is really more of a half marathon shoe, and that's again a good thing because I would never wear the Cielo X1 2.0 for longer distances because of the stability issues I am facing with that shoe. Outsole and design in general, I think this opening here, this cutout in the midsole is slightly bigger and will probably not catch as many stones as on the Rocket X2. The outsole coverage is sufficient, but I didn't experience any, wet surfaces or any grip issues with this. The durability should be good. It's fairly thick, but again, after one session only in this shoe, it's very hard for me to comment on that. Now, value for money, 250 euros. It's a less expensive shoe than the Cielo X1 2.0. This would be my recommendation for most people, except if you really like that aggressive rocker and that feel of the Cielo X1 2.0. This is a shoe that I consider being superior to the Cielo X1 2.0, at least for most runners, and most runners that are looking for that, let's say, sub 3-hour marathon shoe. Or sub 140, let's say, half marathon shoe. It's a shoe that I like. I don't know if I like it more than the Rocket X2. The Rocket X2 was a shoe that I really enjoyed, and sometimes, sadly, updates are not necessarily as good as the OG shoe that you loved. But let's see how it evolves. I'm curious to also try it half a size up. Maybe this will change my opinion in general. This was the first impression review of this Hoka Rocket X3 on embargo day. And I will hopefully have more, maybe a stride comparison between this shoe and say the Puma Fast R3 or the Evo 2 from Adidas. Let me know in the comments if you want to have that stride comparison, and if yes, against which shoe. Let me know if you have any questions. I will try to answer as many of them as I can. Hopefully in the meantime, we have official stats from Hoka. Thanks a lot for watching as always. Enjoy your run today, enjoy your rides. I'm going on a bike ride here in Chamonix right now. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one, bye-bye.